mass Hydralisks actually doesn't work that well. Hydralisks are very bad against mass M&M. And we'll see what Jaedong decides to do with these Mutalisks. Now, it's going to be hard for him to do that much damage to the base, but he might be able to just stop the M&M and stop the expansions from coming up. The hard part about the base, of course, is that he doesn't have any detection until you get Speed Overlords. He might have started that early, though. Given that he hasn't had a lot of Hydralisks, he probably has that early. And those are the Speed Overlords that he needs. So Jaedong is going to have 4 Overlords. Just look at how much he's bringing over there. This means he's going to have a lot of... he's going to have detection pretty much the entire time. And Leta's going to have to deal with a largish Mutalisk attack here in his main base. He does have 2 turrets, but does he have enough air? Terran air is generally more expensive in a straight-up fight. Although it looks like, wow, he's doing great micro against Jaedong. Jaedong so far doing absolutely nothing. He's lost 2 Mutas and an Overlord without doing much at all. Now he picks off a Medic. And Leta is going to be about the dance of these 2 stellar air controllers. I mean, both of these guys are absolutely crazy with their air units. Jaedong, obviously known for his Mutalisk Micro as the best in the world, generally accepted, in fact, against any race. He has the best Mutal Micro. He is the one who made sure that 2-hatch Mutalisks are the dominant Zerg versus Terran build when Terran goes fast expand. That generally is what happens nowadays. There is the +1. In fact, one could argue the reason why Terran goes for tech builds is because single-handedly Jaedong managed to kill the fast expand M&M build with his 2-hatch Mutalisks, which are just imba against them. Jaedong right now has the economic advantage. As you saw, the bottom left is up and fully mining. He does have +1 for his Mutalisks also. Leta continuing to whittle away at their numbers, but Jaedong right now does have he does have the detection he needs. Leta getting a couple more shots off. I still think Leta's winning these battles slightly, though, but Jaedong finally takes down a Wraith. Jaedong can sustain heavier losses, though, at this point because of his economy, as long as he can keep Leta from pushing out, taking out one of his bases, or from expanding himself. He has this game, because Leta, as you can see, is not going to expand for a long time. He needs a victory before he can expand, basically, because right now he doesn't have enough even to hold his natural. He needs to put some pressure on Jaedong, and Jaedong right now is doing a good job of keeping him on the defensive, even if he is losing a couple of units here and there. Wow, this time he does take out another Wraith, though. Jaedong running into a lot of M&M, though. These M&M are going to be very powerful against the Mutalisks, but Jaedong flies away, having taken down 2 Wraiths, and that's a diminishing number of air units for Leta, whose economy is much, much weaker than Jaedong's. Jaedong putting down a 4th base here. Leta's still at 1 base, and I gotta think Jaedong has a very large advantage at this point. Leta's build was a rush build, and when you rush, you gotta get some damage done. Leta was unable to do so, and so Jaedong, by that very fact alone, is ahead. Not to mention, of course, he has gotten a couple of rates. Now he's actually going to work on the medics. Medic Marine here, wow, picking off a lot of M&M. That +1 upgrade helps so much. Wow, Jaedong just going for it. He is just going to attack on the Medic Marine here directly, and he knows once that group goes down, he can go directly target those rates, and they won't have ground support. Rates are very delicate and relatively cost ineffective in a straight up fight. They're 150, 100, of course, compared to the 100, 100 of Jaedong's Mutas, and 1 Wraith isn't that much better than a Mutalisk in a direct up dogfight. So Jaedong right now doing an absolutely great job here, whittling down these numbers. Of course, Zerg also have Scourge if they really need them. Jaedong maintaining about 11 Mutas, although look at this, Leta just so good at picking them off also. Certainly a lesser Terran would be dead by now, but Leta is still fighting in this game, although I do question how long he can survive without a base. I feel like with that small M&M group, he really needed to establish a second. I mean, it was hard. In fact, he was trying to do that, but he wasn't able to. Jaedong made it impossible because Jaedong is Jaedong, and he is ridiculous. For those of you who question how good he is, I mean, just think about his team. The fact that Lakef Oz, or now Hwasun Oz, made it into the Pro League Finals on the back of Jaedong alone, practically. You know, the rest of his team, to say this as uncharitably as possible, is horrible. Really, they don't have any good players other than Haya and Bakho. They lost 4GG recently to KT. Not KTF anymore, evidently, just KT. I don't know why, but anyway, it looks like we're going to have Jaedong once again trying to stop Leta from moving out. This time, Leta has picked off all the detection, though. So that's a good job there by Leta. And he might try to expand, or he might try to go and pick off an expansion of Jaedong's, or he might do both. In fact, he is going to build a command center finally. Jaedong with +2 upgrades for his air. His air is going to be so powerful here. And just check this out. I mean, usually what Zerg do is to switch to Scourge and Lurkers at this point. Lurkers to take care of Eminem, Scourge to take care of the Wraiths because they don't want to fight straight up with just Mutalisk. But Jaedong is showing that you can do just that, but only Jaedong can. He is showing not that Zerg can, Jaedong is showing that Jaedong can. I don't think most Zergs could make this happen with just pure Mutalisks. I mean, pure Mutalisk is against Eminem and Cloak Wraiths. That's ridiculous. Anyway, Jaedong going in, picking off more Wraiths. Leta is giving him plenty of damage, but Jaedong right now is just economically so far ahead. He can sustain resource losses. He can sustain battles where he's not getting a great kill count, but Leta cannot. Leta right now, though, has pushed up fairly close to Jaedong with this combination of Eminem and Wraiths. Jaedong putting down a 3rd Sunken Colony. He doesn't have anything other than Mutalisk, though, so, I mean, this is a pretty big risk he's putting to himself here. I'm not sure if he's got Lurkers yet. I don't think so. Or a Hive. I'm not sure either. A Hive certainly would help, though, with some guards. And wow, Jaedong right now has taken out all the M&M, though. I mean, Leta, when he was busy with this harassment at the bottom, sacrificed his middle force, and I gotta think this is actually not the wisest move, not the best use of his army, because he needed that army to stay alive. He needed it to put some real pressure on. A Wraith can't kill a base, basically, and now the Wraiths are going to get killed piecemeal. Looks like 2 of them are lost before Cloak kicks in for the rest, and I gotta think this is the end for Leta. He doesn't have anything in his natural expansion. He doesn't have that M&M force, which was destroyed by just Mutas because they didn't have air support. I think Leta was relying on the M&M and the Cloak Wraiths to kill off both the Mutalisks and the Overlords. And this is not going to happen anymore. He doesn't have much Wraiths. He doesn't have at all much in air power to speak of. About 4 Wraiths, 2 now, and Jaedong is just ridiculous. He is going in for this natural expansion. This could be close to the end for Leta. Leta does have a sizable M&M force, but Jaedong has those +2 upgraded Mutas, and those are very, very powerful to say the least against anything. M&M, especially M&M without any upgrades, as Leta's are. I don't think they have any armor upgrades. Maybe they have +1 attack. But Jaedong right now is at, how many bases? He's at 6 bases here. Jaedong at 6 bases. And I gotta think this game is just out of Leta's hands, even though he has gotten his natural up. Jaedong continuing to pound away, whittle down the numbers so that none of them are even, they're not even sufficient to break a sunken line. This is it. Jaedong has gone into the natural expansion. There is nothing left in the way of forces. Leta has got to be feeling a lot of pain here, losing the fantasy and then losing to Jaedong. But what can you say? GG, he was in the group of death. And, you know, in the group of death, what happens most of the times is you die. So, Jaedong looking not even that concerned. He knows he needs one more game tonight, and that is against by Movie, who managed to beat him in the first game, you know, against all expectations, and certainly with a build order that nobody could have expected. So Leta going out of the MSL very early on. I don't think this is indicative of any skill of his, though, to be absolutely honest. He lost to Fantasy, who was a runner-up in the last season's OSLs, and Jaedong, of course, who's won a whole lot of OSLs and MSLs in his lifetime career. So really a good game and a good effort from both players. I really do look forward to how Leta does, but in the future, in the OSL, I guess, he's still remaining in the OSL. But right now, we're going to be moving on to the rest of the MSL group here. This is going to be the final game. Jaedong doing some practice to warm up, as you can see. And by Movie, man, by Movie is one thing you didn't expect to happen in the group of death. You didn't expect him to beat Jaedong, and now to have another chance to beat him. And we'll see how Jaedong is prepared for himself and how Movie has done that also. So GG, and stay tuned.